In the years following the American Civil War, the vast plains of Kansas promised hope, freedom, and new beginnings. Settlers came from across the country, drawn by the fertile soil and the dream of building a better life. Along the Osage Trail, near the quiet frontier town of Labette County, stood a small family inn, the Bender's homestead. To weary travelers, it was a welcome refuge, warm food, friendly smiles, and a bed for the night. But behind that facade of hospitality, something sinister stirred. The family who owned the inn, known as the Bloody Benders, would soon be remembered not for kindness, but for horror. Their home was more than a resting place. It was a trap, a house of death hidden below the endless Kansas sky. This is where America's first known family of serial killers began their reign of terror in a place that promised safety, but delivered bloodshed. The Benders, a family of 4 who settled along the Osage Trail in Labette County, Kansas, during the 1870s. To the outside world, they appeared to be simple homesteaders, trying to make a living on the frontier. But hidden under their quiet smiles lay something far darker. At the head of the household was John Bender Sr., a tall, grim man with a heavy accent and a violent temper. He spoke little English and often scowled at strangers. His wife, Elvira Bender, known as Ma, was said to be just as menacing, a woman rumored to dabble in spiritualism and curses. Locals claimed she could fly into fits of rage at the slightest provocation. Their son, John Bender Jr., was odd and unpredictable. He laughed at inappropriate moments and made townsfolk uneasy with his strange mannerisms. Yet it was Kate Bender, the daughter, who gave the family their deceptive charm. Beautiful, confident, and posing as a psychic and healer, she offered seances and spiritual readings to travelers seeking comfort. Her confidence and friendliness drew people in, right into the family's deadly trap. To those who passed by their modest inn, the Benders seemed like any other pioneer family. But those who stayed the night often vanished without a trace. The Benders' warm welcome masked a chilling secret one that would soon shock the nation. Along the lonely stretch of the Osage Trail, weary travelers often found comfort in the glow of a small lantern outside the Benders' home. The family's inn promised warm meals, rest, and friendly company, a rare kindness in the vast emptiness of the Kansas frontier. Inside, guests were greeted by Kate Bender, the daughter whose charm and reputation as a psychic healer gave the family a strange appeal. Her gentle voice and spiritual readings convinced visitors that they were among good people. She claimed she could speak with the dead, easing the hearts of those who carried grief. But the hospitality was a carefully crafted illusion. When the moment was right, guests were invited to sit at a place of honor at the dinner table, directly over a hidden trap door. As they bowed their heads in prayer or leaned forward to listen, a heavy blow would strike from behind. The victim's body would then be dropped through the trap door into a dark cellar below, where the family completed their grim work. Later, under the cover of night, the Benders dragged their victims to the orchard behind the house. There, they buried them in shallow graves among the apple trees, a peaceful garden, hiding silent horrors. The Benders' Inn stood as a cruel deception, a beacon of rest that lured the lost, only to consume them. It was the perfect trap, designed not for comfort, but for death. As months turned into years, the quiet lands of Labette County began to whisper with unease. Travelers who took the Osage Trail, traders, settlers, and drifters, were vanishing without a trace. Their wagons were found abandoned, their horses wandering, but the men and women themselves were gone. At first, the disappearances were dismissed as accidents or runaways, common risks of frontier life, but soon the pattern became impossible to ignore. Dozens of travelers had last been seen passing by the Bender homestead. Suspicion began to take root in the hearts of the townsfolk, who had long found the family strange, yet harmless. The turning point came with the disappearance of Dr. William York, a respected physician and Civil War veteran. He had set out along the Osage Trail in search of a missing friend and never returned. His brothers, one a colonel and the other a Kansas senator, launched a formal investigation, determined to uncover the truth. The Osage Trail, once a road of promise, had become a path into terror. When the search party finally reached the Bender property in the spring of 1873, an uneasy silence hung over the land. The house stood open, the animals unfed, and the family nowhere to be found. It was as if they had vanished overnight, leaving behind only the echo of their crimes. Inside the small inn, investigators found a stench rising from under the floorboards. The trapdoor near the dining table led down into a dark cellar, its dirt floor soaked with old blood. The grim stories whispered by travelers were no longer rumor, they were truth. Behind the cabin, the searchers turned to the orchard, where the ground appeared freshly disturbed. One by one, they dug, and what they unearthed horrified the nation. Shallow graves filled with the bodies of missing travelers, their skulls crushed and throats slit. Among them was the body of Dr. William York, confirming the worst fears of his brothers and the townspeople. In total, authorities recovered at least 11 known victims. Some reports suggested there could have been as many as 20. Their remains scattered across the prairie. The orchard that once bloomed with fruit had become a garden of death, a chilling reminder of the evil that can hide behind ordinary faces. The discovery sent shockwaves through America, transforming the name Bender into one of the most infamous in frontier history. Despite weeks of pursuit, the Bender family was never captured. Rumors flooded the nation. Some claimed they had been lynched by angry settlers and secretly buried. Others insisted they had fled westward, changing their names to live among unsuspecting towns. Over the years, reports of sightings came from every corner of America. A mother and daughter arrested in Texas were thought to be Ma and Kate Bender, but they were released for lack of proof. Another story told of vigilantes finding the family's remains in the plains, but no evidence was ever confirmed. The mystery deepened with time. Had the Benders escaped justice, slipping into a new life under different identities? Or had the people of Kansas delivered their own brutal retribution? No one truly knows. The truth vanished with the family, leaving behind only legends and unanswered questions. What began as a tale of murder on the prairie ended as one of the greatest disappearances in American criminal history. The vanishing of the Bloody Benders. The discovery of the Bloody Benders' crimes sent a wave of shock across the nation. Newspapers from New York to San Francisco filled their pages with gruesome headlines, calling the case one of the darkest in American history. In the 1870s, when the frontier still represented hope and new beginnings, the story of the Benders revealed a terrifying truth that evil could take root anywhere, even below the open skies of Kansas. The media frenzy transformed the family into macabre legends. Their homestead became known as the original murder house, inspiring tales, dime novels, and ghost stories for generations to come. Travelers avoided the area for years, fearful of the orchard that had become a graveyard. Beyond the sensationalism, the Benders' legacy forced Americans to confront the darker side of frontier life isolation, lawlessness, and the fragility of human morality. They were a family who used the promise of kindness to mask cruelty, turning hospitality into horror. On the wind-swept plains of Kansas, the story of the Bloody Benders has never truly faded. Their small wooden inn is long gone, reclaimed by the earth. but the horror they left behind still echoes through American history. They were a family who looked ordinary settlers seeking a fresh start on the frontier. Yet behind their calm smiles and quiet ways hid unimaginable cruelty. The Benders remind us that evil does not always appear as a monster in the dark. Sometimes it wears the face of a neighbor, a host, or a friend. Their crimes revealed a chilling truth about early America, that even in a land built on hope and opportunity, darkness could thrive in the most unlikely places. The Benders turned the promise of the prairie into a nightmare that shocked a nation and reshaped the way people viewed safety and trust. Their inn may be gone, but their legend still chills the plains. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.